Hello everyone, I am Katrina A. Adrayan and I am going to discuss about the measures of dispersion. But before we proceed, let's define first what is dispersion. So, dispersion is the state of getting dispersed or spread. This means the extent to which a numerical data is likely to vary about an average value. In other words, dispersion helps to understand the distribution of the data. So measures of dispersion helps to interpret the variability of data. For example, to know how much homogeneous or heterogeneous the data is. In simple terms, it shows how squeezed or scattered the variable is. So there are types of measures of dispersion: the range, the variance, the standard deviation, the quartile deviation, and the mean and mean deviation. So, let's start with the range. So, range is the most common and easily understandable measure of dispersion. It is the difference between two extreme observations of the dataset. So, range is equals to L minus S. So, R stands for range, L stands for largest value, and S is the smallest value. For example, here's the data: 20, 31, 33, 35, 42, 50, 60, and 67. So, the largest value is 67, and the smallest value is 20. So, the difference of 67 and 20 is equals to 47. Now we have our range 47. So, another measure of dispersion is the quartile deviation. So, quartile deviation measures the deviation in the middle of the data. It also referred to as the semi-interquartile range and is half of the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. So, that is the formula of the quartile deviation. Next is the mean and mean deviation. So, the average of numbers is known as the mean, and the arithmetic mean of the absolute deviations of the observation from a measure of central tendency is known as the mean deviation. So, to be able to find the mean, let's first add up all the scores, then divide them by number of scores. Second steps, find each score's deviation from the mean. Subtract the mean from each score to get the deviation of the mean. Since x is equals to 50, take away 50 from each score. The third step is to square each deviation from the mean. Multiply each deviation from the mean by itself. This will result in positive numbers. This is called the sum the sum of squares. Then lastly, divide the sum of squares by n is equals to 1 or n. We'll use n is equals to 1 where n is equals to 6. We'll use n minus 1 where n is equals to 6. And 177.2 is now our mean deviation. So let's proceed to standard deviation. So the standard deviation is the positive square root of the arithmetic mean of the squares of the deviations of the given values from their arithmetic mean. It is denoted by a Greek letter sigma. It is also referred to as root mean square deviation. So here is the formula of standard deviation. And last but not least is the variance. So what is variance? Variance measures how far each number in the set is from the mean and thus from every other number in the set. Here's the formula of variance. It is calculated by taking the difference between each number in the dataset and the mean, then squaring the differences to make them positive, and finally, dividing the sum of the squares by the number of values in the dataset. And that's all for the measures of dispersion. Thank you everyone for listening.